Welcome to my Sacred Art Studio, a place where we connect with spirit through our spirit guides, use our creative powers to grow spiritually and have an experience of the divine. Hi, I'm Deepa and I'm the Creative Mystic, and I want to share with you today not just my painting, but we're going to talk about and share with you the guidance from one of my spirit guides, or maybe more than one, about trusting your intuition. I bet you've had desires to get intuitive downloads, but maybe you struggle a little bit with trusting it. And how do you know? Like a lot often people will say, is this my intuition or my ego? And then they don't act on it. And so how do you actually trust it that you know it's higher guidance from spirit, from the spirit guides, from God, from whatever your higher power is, and to follow it, to act on it? That's what following it is acting on it. Because if you want to actually transform your life so that you are having more ease and flow and more success in not only your spiritual growth, but in your life, maybe you want to excel in some kind of career more, or have your own business, or have a successful relationship, whatever it is. It is how do you get those intuitive downloads, which we covered some last live about what the spirit guide said about that. So if you want to go check that out if you didn't see it. But more importantly, you have to get them because you actually are receiving intuitive guidance all the time. It's just a matter of are you understanding the communication? Are you actually able to receive it? Now, I often use the word listen, but it's actually receive it, because it's not always listening with your ears. When you hear the word listen, you think with your ears, but it's how do you trust that guidance? How do you know that guidance is actually higher guidance? And how do you trust it so you'll act on it? Because without the acting, you will not see the end result you desire. See, so if you just get the message and you never do anything with the message, you never do the guidance, you will just see yourself going around and around and around, or having more struggle than really you need to have. All right, so we're going to invite in the spirit guides. If you haven't been here before, I always ring the bell so we can say hello God, hello spirit. We're going to say hello spirit guides. Now, today I was given that Mother, Holy Mary Mother Healing, and Our Lady of Guadalupe came wanting to actually give the guidance today about trusting your intuition. All right. Now, if you're live, or even if you're seeing this in recording, I love it if you give a shout out by, introducing yourself, where you're from, where you are in your place of intuition. Do you get the downloads, or maybe you get them but you don't trust them, or maybe you're completely new to all this and you don't even think that you have intuition. I'm here to tell you you do, because every soul on the planet, every person in a body, has the ability to get intuitive messages. You just have to learn how. All right, so let's start with by inviting in the spirit guides. All right, we're going to I'm getting a little nudge to do this a little slightly differently. We're going to light the candle. Hi, Sky. We're going to light this. It's not a candle, it's a ghee lamp. I'm going to light this ghee lamp with the intention of welcoming in the spirit guides, of welcoming in the spirit guides, not in just to my place, because here we are in my Sacred Art Studio, but to wherever you are. And the most important space we want to invite this spirit into is yourself, within you, because that is what awakens your ability more to get those intuitive downloads. When you have your attention on your spiritual true self rather than your ego physical self, because the messages don't come through the physical plane, they come through the etheric spiritual plane. All right, so we light this candle, welcoming in that energy, welcoming in the energy of transformation, because that's what the spirit guides are here to help you with, is transformation. Transformation in what? Most importantly, your consciousness, what you believe, where your focus of your attention is, because that's what makes true transformation and change in your life. Okay, so we light that candle for that. And now we're going to invoke and welcome in Now, when we ring the bell, we always say hello to God, hello to Spirit. I'm going to say specifically hello, Spirit Guides, hello to Our Lady of Guadalupe and Mother of Healing, because they are the ones who volunteered to be here with us today, all right? And if you have a particular spirit guide, feel free to welcome them in, all right? So let's just take that moment. Take that deep belly breath where the belly rises with the inhalation and falls with the exhalation. It is about helping us to be receptive. The breathing calms the mind. As you calm your breath, you calm your mind. And as we calm the mind and the breath, we'll ring the bell and welcome in Spirit. Hello, God. Hello, Spirit Guide. Hello, Our Lady of Guadalupe. Hello, Holy Mary, Mother of Healing. We invoke Thy presence into our body, minds, and souls, into the sacred space of the physical space, but most importantly, our inner space, our inner true spiritual being, spiritual self, allowing the spirit messages to come through, to bless us, to guide us, to transform us. And just feel as the bell rings that the energy of the spirit guides, that you are becoming one with it, that it is awakening within you each and every moment, feeling that blessing. The blessings of receptivity, because you can hear all the guidance in the world, but if you're not receptive to it, you won't understand it. To the willingness to actually act on it, to receive it, to allow the vibration of the bell to just penetrate not only the physical body, but your etheric body, to allow the transformation, to allow the receptivity, to allow the willingness. And as you hear the final ring of the bell, say thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And we say thank you because it means it is done. So it is, so it is done. Thank you. So last week we shared with you about how to start to get those intuitive downloads. And so what I did was this painting here was something that we just started. We listened to what the spirit guides were telling us to do, and we started to do it. And they wanted me now to share with you what their message is about trusting it, because they know that if you really want to transform your life, if you really want to have more ease and flow, that you have to trust what you're receiving enough to act on it. Now, they want me to talk to you. Mother of Healing is coming through first, and she's saying she wants me to let you know that one of the things that there are blocks to why you don't trust it. And one of the things that blocks your ability to trust your intuition is your unwillingness to go into the darkness. Mother of Healing came as a spirit guide to let you know that in order to truly heal, you have to be willing to go into the darkness. Now, the darkness is anything you haven't been willing to look at, right? All the things that you want to avoid, or you suppress, or you just like ignore, those are the darkness, okay? And that you have to be willing to actually allow them to come up and be with them. Now, she's not saying that you have to heal every little thing before you can trust your intuition. But she's saying the fact that when you suppress, you avoid, you ignore, it means that habit is in place. And then what do? You avoid you suppress, you ignore your intuition. So in order to actually trust it, you can't be doing that. Okay. Now that means that you're always getting something. Like I said, you always get some kind of intuitive messages. It's just a matter of whether you're understanding the communication and whether you are willing to receive it. Because often some things happen and people are like, that's, whether you say, oh, that's coincidence, or that's not logical, that's not practical, that can't be true, or it's such a quick flash, because intuition can be a quick flash. When I first started to like really hone in on mine, it would have to happen several times because it was so quick, such a quick flash, and such that still soft voice, in the sense of it wasn't necessarily words, but the message was like subtle, that it would flash by. And so until it happened repetitively, I didn't know that, oh, I gotta grab hold of this. And so they're saying that if you have the habit of ignoring and doing all those things, like in anything you don't like in your life, that happens on the spiritual level. That you can't go, okay, I'm going to do this over here all day long, and then think it's going to be different when you communicate with spirit, with higher power, okay? And to trust somebody, would you trust someone, they're saying, if you ignored them or avoided them or suppressed them in some way? You do those things because what? You don't trust them, you don't like them, you don't want to be around them. And so you have to be willing to face those things, because that starts to change the way you're looking at the world. And in order to trust your intuition, you have to start to see the world in almost the complete opposite way that you were programmed. See, because she says you were programmed to believe in the physical plane. The biggest phrase that people say is, I'll believe it when I see it, which is the complete opposite of how you manifest something, right? You have to believe it, then you'll see it, right? So you have to have some level of belief to ever act on something. And so you have to start to have some level of belief that you are not alone in this world, okay? That there's, whatever you call your higher power, whether it's a particular spirit guide like I'm calling here, because they come to me in different kinds of forms, giving a blessing to you, because each one shows up in a different way, saying this is the blessing that I want to bring to the planet, to the people on the planet. And it's a blessing maybe of wisdom to help you see something different, or a blessing of helping you shift in consciousness, a blessing of just reminding you that you're not alone in the spirit guides. But if maybe you don't even believe in spirit guides, maybe you just believe in what you would call higher power, the universe, spirit, God, okay? Whatever name you choose, there's something that is different than your physical body. And in order for you to actually act on it and know it's your intuition, you have to start to have full faith in that, okay? Now, Mother Healing is saying that in order for you to start to trust it, there's that willingness going into the darkness, but the willingness to face that you have fear, okay? That most people, she wants me to share this because this has come up with me with several times, that people come up to me and they say, well, if it was intuition, wouldn't I just feel totally peaceful and happy, and like I wouldn't be afraid to act on it? And I say, yeah, everybody wants that, but that's not true, okay? Because in order to, you'll get the download, and when you get it, this is way you know that it's intuition versus ego, is when it first comes in that very moment when you sense it, whether it's through something you see, something you sense in your body, something that comes across your mind, or maybe you actually get words. Not too many people do, but okay. But whatever comes in, okay, how it comes to you, at that moment, you do feel peaceful. You have a sense of knowing that, this is true. But then when you come out of that and you get into the world of what? Believing in the physical, believing in the logical, believing in the practical, okay, then that goes away. And what happens is fear comes in, because typically, quite often, intuitive guidance goes against your sense of what you think is logical, what you think is practical, what you think is responsible, what you think can happen. Because higher guidance is coming because you need a different perspective, okay? You're not having success on what you're doing. You're not having the level of ease and flow that you want when you're doing it from this perspective of what you already know. Because as you want to create something new in your life, or if you have something that you don't like in your life, you have to think outside of the box you're already in. And most people can't do that. And that's why you want messages from higher power, from the spirit guides, because that's something from a higher perspective, a higher guidance that you're not able to see when you're just on the physical world of your life. When you go, well, what's logical, what's practical, what do I know from the past? You can never get what you want from just sticking to what you know in the past. And especially if you've seen struggle. I'm curious, has anyone seen struggle? If you have, please, I'd love to know that. Because struggle means that you've really been trying to do it the way you used to do. That why can't I do this? I did this before. Or, gee, like I've done it, got success this way, but it's not working now. Why can't? Because the past doesn't keep working into the future. So you want to understand that, I need this higher guidance, and I have to trust that it's going to go against what my logical, practical, responsible mind tells me. All right? Now, they want me to share with you because I don't know if you've been on here before or not, but if you haven't heard this story. And if you have, it means you must need to hear the story again for some little level that's going to help you to start to trust your intuition. So, many years ago, the spirit guides started coming to me when I started doing the creative work with creating and combining spiritual practices with the desire to create like Our Lady of Guadalupe and other spirit guides. They started coming to me and everything, okay? So I was doing the spirit guides and creating the portals and just, getting the message that they wanted and putting that forth. And then one day I was meditating and I got this guidance that I was supposed to put on my website that I could tune into somebody's energy. And then we can, have them make like this intentional statement of what they're wanting help with, that they could come in, the spirit guides could come in and help them with the purpose they want to manifest or a challenge they want to overcome. And that I could help them to see the spirit guide that wants to give them higher guidance and to help them in this journey of either overcoming that challenge or manifesting a purpose, okay? And I got this download that I could do this and I should put it on my website. And when I got the download, I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Now, I did get a download of this is how you're supposed to do it. But I was just like, I don't know if I can do it. But the guidance is to put it on my website. So I was in a place where I trusted my intuition and I followed the guidance, even if it brought up fear. Because it brought up fear. Because I did not know if I could do that, right? Something new. It was beyond my scope of what I thought I could do. And I thought, well, I'll put it on my website. They didn't say anything else. I put it up on my website. And it was about a year, and of course nothing happened with it because I didn't tell a soul, because the only guidance I got was put it on my website. So I did that. All right. So then, as I was like letting myself be with myself in my spiritual journey and my path of awakening, I started to realize I was getting guidance like, you're kind of hiding, you're kind of in the closet about the spirit guides. Because I was afraid, like at some level, that people would kind of think it's weird and not believe it, and so I had to overcome that. So I was in a business meeting, and even though I was scared, I thought I'm going to like come out of the closet. I need to come out of the closet of this about the spirit guides and really just embrace it. And so I got up and I talked about how the spirit guides and this and that, and how I can see the spirit guide that's here to work with you. And I wasn't trying to make a sale. I just was like, I'm coming out of the spiritual closet, I'm like, I'm going to stop hiding this. And then I sat down, went home 24 hours later, right? And I go into my email and I see an email and I almost like fall off the chair that I'm sitting on my desk, because there's an email that says, I see you do this thing with a personal spirit guide where you can, see my spirit guide, and I want to manifest a purpose, and I think I want one. Can we talk? And I almost fell over. And so I met with the person. Now, I'd been given the download how to do it, but I met with her, and like she wanted to move forward on it. And I was afraid because I thought, I don't even know if I can do this. What if nothing comes? What if I don't see anything, you know? And the fear was up. But I thought, I'm moving forward anyway. I'm going to do it because I was guided to do it. I trust, you know, spirit. I trust my spirit guide, so I'm going to do it. And I did it. And we did the whole routine of how we do it. Got the second appointment where I do the big reveal with the spirit guide. And I hold it up. Now, here's the thing. Before I actually held it up, I was really afraid because this client kept talking about Mother Mary. Mother Mary, Mother Mary, Mother Mary. Because in the appointment, when I have a person make the intentional statement, um, I help them create that, help you create that statement if you were the client, okay? And then we meditate together, and then I get a vision and a download of like what they're coming to bless the person with and what they want them to start doing and how to work with them. And so then I don't say anything to the client. I just go away and create the spirit guide portal and then come back and show it in the second appointment, okay? But in that first appointment, she talked about Mother Mary. Mother Mary, Mother Mary, Mother Mary. So I was afraid because Mother Mary did not show up. It was a completely different spirit guide. But I painted what I saw, and I get to the second appointment. I said, well, here's your spirit guide that's to help you with manifesting your purpose. And I hold it up and show it to her because I do it on Zoom because people do not have to be local to me, okay? Hold it up, and I'm looking at her in Zoom, you know, I'm looking through, and all of a sudden you could see she's got this kind of shocked look, but in a good way. And then you actually even, I saw a tear come down on her face. And I thought, I think this is good. I hope it's good, you know. And I kept holding it. And then all of a sudden she says something. And she says, I didn't tell you this, but I had been told by an Akashic reader years ago that I'm to work with a fairy. And lo and behold, what I saw and what I created as a spirit guide was a fairy. So, what do you think you're supposed to glean or take from that story, right? Because Holy Mary Mother of Healing wanted me to share it with you again, or share it with you for the first time, because there's something you're supposed to understand in that with trusting your intuition. I'd love it if you want to share it before I give you the answer, because I'm going to tell you what you're supposed to learn from it. She's telling me to tell you. But, you know, just put it up yourself in the comments if you got something of what you thought it was or what you think it is before I even talk about it, okay? Because acknowledging that you're getting the lessons that you're supposed to learn, because that's what it's all about what are the ahas, the lessons, the things that we're supposed to realize that, oh, this is what I want to do differently. This is the very thing that Spirit's trying to guide me to do differently. Because if you want a different result, Mother of Healing's saying, you got to do something different, right? You got to believe something different. You got to think something different. You have to do something different. All right. Now she's saying it all starts with your consciousness, and that's why she was talking about, you know, healing and everything, because what you want to heal is the beliefs that are holding you back, the beliefs that have stopped you from trusting your intuition. And those are the things of the what we think are rules that are made of what's practical, what's logical, what's responsible, and all those are made up. She wants you to understand. And that's one of the things you want to heal is letting go of those made-up rules, because they're made up. Somebody in the world, in the society you live in your family, a sibling, made up a rule and thought it was true. Now, she wants you to understand there are spiritual laws that are truth that you do want to follow in order to be the powerful being that you are. But then there are all these made-up rules that you don't have to follow. So she's like, for a lot of people in America, the made-up rule is you work Monday through Friday and you get the weekend off, okay? Because that's the structure in our society. So often when people go from having a job to having their own business, what do? They work Monday through Friday because that's what the rule that they have. Now that's just one little example. There are all kinds of rules of like what you think makes a good daughter, or what you think, you know, the way success happens, because success doesn't happen the same for everybody. And that's what Our Lady of Guadalupe wants you to get, because she's the creative power, the most strongest creative power, is that that these rules that are made up with success are not necessarily true either, depending on who you're following. So they're saying that you have to like heal those things, and you have to start to look at them. So what do you think was gleaned from that? I'm curious. The biggest one is what? Even though it was guidance that was true for me, I had a lot of fear when I started to think about acting on it. Now, what did I do even though I had that fear? I acted on it anyway. Right? Now, that's easy to say and difficult for most people to do because we've been trained and programmed that when we have fear, what are we supposed to do? Run the other direction, right? You get that. If you have fear about something, you're supposed to run, avoid it, get away from it. And so that's what we do. When the intuitive guidance comes in, what do? You run, you get away from it. You what? Push it away, because that's what you've been programmed to do. So we have to help you to actually do something different, to learn how to be with the fear, acknowledge when it's an actual true fear. Like if there's a running tiger coming at you that's got its mouth open ready to bite you, that is a fear. You should run. Well, actually, are you supposed to run from tigers? I think you are. So, because there's even some animals you're not supposed to run, but you get what I'm saying. So you want to really be able to distinguish between when it's a fear that is warranted. Like if you touch a hot stove, okay, now this one's obvious. There's a hot stove and you put your hand on it, the fear is out, you yank away because you can feel the heat, right? If you don't, what's going to happen? You're going to burn the skin right off your hand. Okay, that's a real fear that's for your survival, all right? So, but the fear of just, someone's going to think that you're crazy because you talk about spirit guides, which was one of mine, that I had, that can still come up, because I know, like my family, my parents don't believe this at all. And so, what? I love my family, but I don't want them to think I'm crazy. But I finally came to a point where you got to do it anyway. Like this is where my spiritual journey, my path of awakening is unfolding. Now, here's the thing. Everybody's path of awakening is unique. Now, that doesn't mean there aren't some elements that aren't true, that are very similar to everyone's. But you can't base your path of awakening on your best friends or your neighbors or a teacher. You want to maybe take the guidance of the teacher to see like what you can do and experiment with, because that's one of the things I always tell people with my coaching clients is you got to experiment. The guidance is coming in from spirit. You experiment to see, is it true for you? Is it working for you? Okay? Now, even if you don't think it's working for you, if you've gotten it, you really know it's guidance, do it a little longer, because sometimes what you're supposed to get is an aha moment that makes you go, I see something else about myself that I haven't seen before. And that helps you to move forward. So in order to start to trust your intuition, you have to get what? Comfortable with feeling fear. You have to be able to recognize when it's a true fear that you need to actually stop, like putting your hand on a hot stove, or is it just a made-up fear from all the made-up rules that are happening? See? So we're going to start painting here in a minute, because they're saying we're going to paint a little bit. I didn't know I was going to talk so long, but I get the guidance from the guides and share it with you. Now, if you have any questions, please put them up there. They're going to keep talking to me as I paint. This is the intuitive painting that I was working on the first one, where I talked to you about how you start to trust and develop that skill of listening, and that it gets developed through when you bring the art of painting in with spirit, because spirit's speaking through us all the time. So I'm going to start painting and keep sharing with you. Now, if you have a question, please put it up. If you have a share for yourself, I'd love to read it. I'd love to connect with you. Part of what my joy is spreading this love and light from the spirit guides to help transform you, to help like lift your soul up, because one of the reasons why I really truly feel here that I'm here on the planet is to be a blessing, to help bring the truth of higher guidance to every soul that wants to listen and hear it, to help transform their consciousness, your consciousness, and your life. So one of the things, if you like what you're hearing and you want to like see more of the lives, feel free to give me a thumbs up. If you can, this is my little artwork of making a hand with a thumbs up. I love making things. Also, if you can subscribe, if you haven't before, please do that. Let me get the subscribe in there. If you know of someone that this would be a blessing to, please share it with them if you can. And oh, the last part, if you can, is turn on your notifications, because that way you'll be notified when I actually do the next live. We're going to get to some painting here, and we're going to keep sharing with you what the spirit guides want to share with you about trusting your intuition. Now, they're actually even starting to tell me now what they want you to do is to be willing. And next thing is willingness is an important factor. They talk about willingness, and willingness isn't about like willingness is a sense of allowing, they're saying. A sense of allowing where you allow your fear to come up, because they're saying if you try to, the paint is hard because it was a couple weeks and I actually missed. So we're going to actually mix a little paint here while we're talking. They're saying that the willingness is about allowing any fear to come up that needs to come up. So, because if you try to what? What they say? Ignore it, suppress it, stuff it. It's just going to actually get bigger, that fear. And they're saying that you really need to allow yourself to acknowledge, like if you get an intuitive message, okay, and you feel fearful, to allow that fear to come up and acknowledge it and say, oh, I'm having a lot of fear about this guidance I'm getting. Even if you're not sure it's guidance, just say that. Oh, I'm allowing myself to have fear. I'm now allowing myself to have the fear that I am because of the guidance that's coming up. Because that's one of the things I did in my story, was I didn't try to push the fear away. I acknowledged it, like, ooh, I'm having a lot of fear about this, because I don't know if I can do it. You know, and that's the thing that Spirit wants you to get, that Our Lady Guadalupe actually saying that I want them to get, is that creation, whatever you're trying to create, comes when you allow whatever's coming up to come up. So she's saying that, like with this painting that we're creating, there was no trying to make it a certain way. There was just, we got the feeling to lay down a certain color paint, and we laid it down. And so that's what is, that happens in when you want to trust your intuition, is you have to allow what you're feeling to come up. To allow that feeling to come up, acknowledge it, and talk with that part of you that has that fear. And say, I understand why you're fearful. And we're going to trust Spirit, the Spirit guide, or whoever, you know, your higher power, to guide us on our way. Because when I got the guidance to do it, besides the fact that I felt like, okay, this feels true. You know, like I feel like I'm supposed to do this. But then, you know, my little mind comes in and goes, what's the question most people ask when they want to do something? How? Right? How do I do this? How do I do this? Right? And so that how button came in, and I was kind of like, all right, I need you to tell me how I'm supposed to do this. And so they gave me the method, protocol, how do you want to call it, to how I was supposed to do it. And so that's the thing when you also have intuition, in the way to start trusting it more, they're telling me, is if you feel confused or scared with the message, you can ask a question. It's not like, like whatever you get, you have to just go, oh, this is all I get, and I don't understand one bit of it. You can ask the question to say, all right, well, I'm not sure how to do this. Can you give me more? And then they give you some more. They give you some more guidance. They tell you more of what to do. They maybe explain it. Like sometimes I get something because my intuition speaks to me in different ways depending on how, what's going on with me. Sometimes it's words come in. Sometimes it's a thought that comes in. Sometimes it's a sensation, just a knowingness I have. And sometimes I get an image that gets put in, a vision of something. And I've had that with clients that I work with in my mentor programs. A vision comes in and I'll say, I'm getting this vision of blah, blah, blah. And for me, I have no idea what it means. But I say that and they go, oh, well, I know what it means. And so I trust it. I trust it enough to go, I'm going to share this even though it makes no sense to me. And then often, even when it doesn't make sense, because I trust it enough, even though it may not make sense to me, I trust it enough to like give it voice that then more comes through, for the client, for whoever I'm helping, that it comes through. So the thing about when I do this live with you is I don't get to hear your voice. That's why I often ask you to share, because I can hear your voice in what you write. But, obviously I can't hear you. But when there's an interaction, for me, now this is not true for everybody. Some people just get intuitive guidance and just, it's like a hose got turned on and just woo, comes on through. Now I do get stuff like that, but often it's when the client, the person who I'm helping, starts to put their energy into it by a question or just by their awareness of the image. All of a sudden I get more. And so that's the thing you have to start to realize, is that to trust it, you have to experiment with whatever you're getting to see some evidence that it's true, that it actually is higher guidance. Now, like I said, if you practice, you start to get a feeling and know, but the big hurdle is getting over the fear and the beliefs that tell you you're crazy if you do it. And that trust comes from knowing the spiritual laws that are happening in our lives 24/7, of which today I'm not going to talk about all those, because that would be like a much longer live. There would be absolutely no time to paint, because to tell you all the different spiritual laws that are operating in your life 24/7 would take much more time. And also probably would be better if there was some possible interaction, So the spirit guides are saying, please be willing to put up a question if you have one. They always want to, if they can, help more. So they just want me to work on this little scene. And this is really just about the practicing of listening, like how do you Keep listening. One of the things that they want me to share with you is, like even when you're painting, painting is such a mirror, they're saying, of what goes on with you in your daily life. Like one of the things that they want me to share with you is, like whenever I'm painting a portal, like Our Lady of Guadalupe, when I painted her, there's a point when the painting gets to a place where it actually looks like pretty darn good, but it's not finished. And what comes up for me is, the fear of, am I going to mess it up? Anybody have that? I was curious. Like, you get something that looks pretty good, and then you kind of get a little fear of like, I'm afraid I might mess it up. And I have to really, when I hear that voice, like, am I gonna? It looks, am I gonna mess it up? To just, no, that I realize that I'm in my subconscious programming, not the truth of who I am, the spiritual being, the higher self that's creating. Because I really do my best to move myself aside and let spirit create the painting, create the spirit guide portal. Now this particular painting is not a spirit guide portal. You never know what's going to happen there between. At least I didn't start this way. It was a practice that the spirit guides wanted me to show you to do, so you could start developing your skill sets of how to listen more, of how to actually develop the skill set of listening. Because in order to trust your intuition, you have to get the download of something that you actually think is a download, right? That's a higher guidance, so that you can start to go, okay, how can I start to act on this? How can I start to practice receiving the message, but more importantly, acting on the message? One of the things they also want me to share with you, they're saying, is that let them know that when you get that intuitive guidance, that it's important to, like if you're having fear and you catch yourself not following through, that you write it down somewhere so that you'll keep it in front of you. step back a little bit. One thing about painting is you always got to step back, take a look at it, get a different viewpoint, see how it's looking. Oh. Now, I had no idea when they wanted me to put on this white here that it was like, kind of looks like, if you've ever been to the ocean, right? You've seen where it'll look like those little bubbles coming up. I used to live in Encinitas in California, which is, we lived a mile from the beach, so we'd go to the beach like almost every day. And I was like, oh, I'm getting to put white here. Let me put the white there. And I was like, oh, it looks like when I used to go to the beach and would come up on the sand and look kind of bubbly, and there would be little bubbles sometimes that came up, and then it would go back. So, this obviously is kind of a made-up seascape, but it's still I was supposed to have this live last week, and I don't know if any of you have ever had vertigo, but I was having some vertigo problems and just was not able to do it. So I'm so happy that I feel better today so that I could actually be here with you guys. So, Mother Healing wants to know, like, what do you think your greatest fear is that stops you from trusting the act of acting on your intuition? And she's saying that put it up if you're willing to watch this in the replay or whenever you watch it, because it'd be something that she might address and talk about, she's saying. And also, if you're looking for, so one of the things they're talking about right now, they're saying to me, is one of the most important things to help you get over fear, they're talking about, is that you have to actually, one, work with your subconscious beliefs, but two, is make your energy strong. Because strong energy is really important, they're saying, if you want to be able to act on something that you have fear about. Like if you're like if someone was, they're using this example, if somebody was sick, which when sick people are sick, they don't have strong energy, right? They're sick and the energy's not strong. Are they able to like work on something new, or because it's been, no, right? So now she's not saying you're sick, but she's saying that if you like find that you have weaker energy, that you need to work on strengthening your energy. It's one of the things that she has me working on right now is a product, a couple products she wants me to work on. One is I'm working on a subliminal audio to help you with some of the subconscious fears that stop you from acting on it, your intuition. But also the other important thing is to how do you actually have strong energy, because having strong energy is really important, she's saying, when it comes to being able to act on something that you have some subconscious beliefs. So it's kind of working on it with both sides, right? Help you with the programming that's stopping you, but also help you with how do you create strong energy. And a lot of people, what they do when they feel tired, which when you feel tired, your energy's not strong, is what's the big one? People drink coffee, right? I wonder if you drink coffee. But that coffee doesn't make your energy strong. That it definitely does not make your energy strong. And in fact, what she's saying is it actually weakens your energy over time, because what happens is when you drink the coffee, it revs you up and gives you like a boost at that moment. But then you have what? A downturn, a fall from it because of it. And so she's not saying that, like never drink coffee, but she's saying that you want to recognize that what are the energy building activities that you need to put into place, because it's so important to have strong energy to follow your intuition when you have something you're afraid about. So energy building activities, so it's about becoming aware of what is actually building your energy and what is draining your energy. Because if you're doing everything that drains your energy, and so she wants to talk about that too, that how like when people do things, this is all she's wanted me to paint today, was just add a little bit of gray and add a little bit to the beach. That she was going to have me paint more, but that's what she's wanting. But she wants me to really share this with you about in order to grow spiritually, to follow your intuition, to trust it enough to follow it, your energy has to be strong. And that one of the first things you want to do is stop doing the things that drain your energy if you can. Now, she's not expecting you to be perfect, she's saying, but to really acknowledge, remember about going into the darkness that Mother of Healing talks about, is that you need to really acknowledge what is draining your energy. We tend to be, she's saying, human beings tend to ignore things or not acknowledge what's really happening. So she's giving this as an example. She's saying, so like you go out and you party. Now, I was a big partier when I was, young and everything, a teenager and young adult. Um, I loved it, okay? Um, Now, and it felt like it charged me up, right, to go out drinking and having all this fun. But what would happen after? Like coffee, right? You go out, you do it, you have a great time, and after, people are like, overdrink, hangover, So, what is it ultimately doing? It's draining your energy. Now, she's not telling you not to go do something fun, but you want to acknowledge, are you doing more energy building activities or more draining energy activities? And that if you're doing more draining energy activities, you will not have the energy to take action on your higher intuition, your higher guidance, um, if fear is coming up. Because just like when I did the act on my doing personal spirit guide portals for people, I had fear. If I had been drained and like hungover, I would not have had the energy to go do it because I would have been what? Depleted. And so when you're going to do something that is stretching you beyond the belief system you have, because that's what's happening when you get some of the higher guidance and you don't move on it. It's because that higher guidance is stretching you beyond your belief system, and you're so fearful because it is that you can't move forward on it. And so she's saying that your energy needs to be strong for this. All right. So you really want to be looking at, in fact, she says, we're going to talk more about this later in the Future Alive about energy building activities, because this is really important, that if you want to grow spiritually, if you want to whatever grow in your life, you need to be having more energy building activities and less energy draining activities. And most people don't look at that. They're looking at just and one of the biggest things she's saying that drains your energy is fear that that you're not acknowledging, and that is going on in the background, and that you get caught in. And that it may not even be going on in the background, it might be front and center, but you're not processing it to let it flow through. You're just caught in the fear, and that fear is one of the biggest energy drains, when you have fear that you don't know how to get out of. And Yogananda talks about that. Um, I don't have a picture of Yogananda here. You can't see it in the frame. There's a little picture of him over there. I should probably put it in the frame permanently, so because I'm always pointing to him because he's one of my teachers. So she's talking about that you really wanted that. So we're going to talk about that. I don't know if it's going to be in a live or if it's going to be in a pre-done video that I do, but I'm definitely going to be talking about the energy building activities and the energy draining activities. I know I've talked about things that drain you, but she's really saying this is important to grow spiritually. To grow spiritually, to grow in where you want to create a fabulous life for yourself. Like if you really want, like if your life isn't where you want it to be, your relationship, or the amount of money you make, or your job, or what you do for a living. Like maybe you have a job, but you really want to do your own business, or you want to do some spiritual work. A lot of people become Reiki masters, but they never do anything with it because what? They're too afraid. They don't know how they can make money. Their fear is up, And people will tell you they're not having fear, but yet you watch them make every decision from their fear of what they don't want. And they're telling me, if all your decisions are made from staying away from what you're afraid of, or what you don't want in your life, you make a decision because you don't want something in your life, rather than what you want in your life, okay? Because there's a difference, she's saying, in the way you look at it, that is an energy draining activity, to always be making decisions from what you're afraid of. So hopefully this has been helpful for you. I'm going to leave it open. I see a few people on live right now, so feel free to put any questions in there, shares, before I get ready to bring it to a close. But again, if you are looking for more support in this type of thing, please feel free to reach out to me. I do a complimentary connection call. I'm going to go ahead and put that up for you so you can see it. Or if I'm going to be launching a membership probably in the next 4 or 5 months. You can also get on my membership wait list. I can't put them both up there, but there's my connection call. If you're looking to find a mentor or a coach to really help you with this, because you really are at this place where I want to follow higher guidance because I have a purpose here that I want to manifest, or I have this ongoing challenge that I really want to change in my life. I do, programs with people, coaching programs, mentoring programs, and I'd love to connect with you to see, are we a fit? Because, it's really about how do you fit together? Does it work? Is it not for you? So that's deepaloo.com/gift. Pretty simple. And then if you might be interested in my membership at some point, feel free to get on my membership wait list. That's deepaloo.com/membership-waiting-list. I probably could have made that a lot simpler, but that is the way it is. Because I'm going to be launching that. And would love to hear if you have any questions. Please feel free to put them up. Otherwise, I'll give you a couple minutes, see if you have to type something in. It's been a joy to be with you. And I hope that, I'd love to hear about any kind of experience you had that was positive and uplifting for you, because, again, this is all about how to bring this blessings of the divine to you, of higher guidance, of higher consciousness, of that guidance to help you be in more flow and ease so you can step into being that powerful being that you are, because you are a powerful being, powerful beyond measure. When we can let go of thinking we're just this body and open up to who we truly are, life becomes miraculous, amazing, completely different than what you have now. I had that experience many, many, many years ago when I first got on my spiritual journey, my spiritual path, I transformed my life. And that would be another story at a later thing. So don't see any questions. So thank you for everyone who came and joined me in this sacred space. I hope to see you in the next one. I don't know if I'm having it next week. I know I missed one. I usually do 3 on and 1 off. But next week is my wife's birthday, and I'm not sure I'm going to be doing it. But again, subscribe if you want to know, because it will get in. And then definitely in June, I'll be doing the 3 on, 1 off that I do live. All right? Blessings to all. Thank you.